powder form. I don't know what it is about it. It works extremely well. It doesn't have all the perfumes and dyes in it, so it's not affecting things. The biggest thing is either don't dry your microfibers in the dryer or dry them on super low. Because what it'll do is it will, over time, even on like a medium heat setting over time, those microfibers are synthetic, and they're going to kind of nap together after a while. I'm not going to say melt, because if you put them on high, they will melt. But over time they're going to really nap, and they're not going to do what you want them to do. So harsh detergents like Dawn. I've known some people to wash them in Dawn detergent. Detergents are really harsh, so if they're really grubby, okay, but it's not going to keep them soft. It's not going to keep them pliable. Same thing with washing your car. Unless you're wanting to, pre-clean it for a paint shop, don't use your wife's laundry detergent, and don't use a Dawn dish soap. Go get a car wash. So it's got a little bit of a conditioner in it that won't strip all the wax and everything you just did off of it. Ceramic sealing, obviously, even with detergent and soaps, it takes a little longer to strip that off there. But that's another big thing I see people. Wash the car. Well, I went downstairs and I got the bottle of air or the bottle of Tide, and I washed the car, and I'm like, yeah, you just took your wax job off. So once again, it's kind of common sense. But as far as washing your microfibers and the washer or whatever, I run them through an extra rinse cycle, and make sure that I'm not using too much so that it does get rinsed, and I just try to stay away from the chemicals and dyes and stuff, because it just breaks it down. And as much as I use them, the other thing too is you can only wash them so many times, and they just break down anyway. But if you're doing it every day like me and buying them in bulk too, you can,
But you would wash it every time after use.
So where do you buy yours from? You got a special?
Well, here lately I've been doing, so I do a lot of my purchasing through AutoGeek, and sometimes I do a big bulk through them. Sometimes I like Griot's microfibers a lot. I will tell you that their DA polisher will only get you through about 100 cars if you do what I do, so it's more of a hobbyist machine. But you're getting what you paid for too. But all their products are good. So I buy their rags, especially their drying towels and stuff, pretty regularly because it's affordable. Sometimes I'll do Amazon if I know where it's coming from, but I try to pay attention to where it's coming from. I bought some really good metal polishing rags that way. But the microfibers I tend to go more AutoGeek or Griot's or one of these other companies. However, I have wandered down to the AutoZone in a pinch and bought ones that are just fine. Some people get really technical about the nap and the thickness and all that. If it takes the stuff back off the car, I don't get that hung up. I will tell you that blue surgical rags are great for glass, though. These are great for glass. Microfibers kind of suck for conditioning leather, so my suggestion would be to go to your local Home Depot or somewhere and get a bag of those just white cotton rags. Those work great. They don't leave lint. They're cotton. They're easy to wash. So the microfibers, they drag, and you put more material in the rag than on what you're doing. So.
Do you use a demineralizer or anything when you're rinsing the car down or anything like that, or you just don't care?
No, not usually. No. I've used the guys, I've used waterless systems, which was kind of bizarre. I don't know that I fully was into that. I've used distilled water systems, and where it dries it afterwards too. The biggest thing is, if you live in the Midwest, there's more calcium in the water. So, if you're wet sanding or you're washing a car, it's kind of like detergent. It's just harder on it. But as long as you're not leaving it in the water, and you're following up with your polishing and your maintenance, pretty quickly after, it's not a big deal. If you wet sand a car and don't wipe it down and come back 3 days later, then it looks like crap. But so soft water does help. Distilled water's fine, but it really doesn't matter. Some people get very, very technical with that.
Well, it doesn't spot.
Yeah. And I get it, but I'm also usually working fast enough, drying things fast enough that, or following it up with a polish fast enough that, I don't have to worry about that. Keep in mind though that these older paints will absorb whatever you put on. So you get sap on here, it's going to soak in. You spill your coffee on it, it's going to soak in, and it's going to spot. So, which is why some guys stay away from, certain waters and stuff for that reason. It's more work for them, which is fine.
Yeah,
hey, if it works for you, do it.
Yeah, I have well water in my farm, so
Yeah.
it's full of iron, so it's
Sure.
crappy water. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll do a little spot here so you can get a visual of what I do, since I don't really have a laptop pictures of it for you. So I also don't get hung up on speed a whole lot because I've learned to do this by sound. But when you're polishing, you want to go a little lower speed setting. When you're polishing, you want to go higher speed setting, so that you're moving a little quicker, a little lighter on top of the paint surface. When you're waxing, if you use a machine, you want to turn it back down because you're going to work it in, and you don't want it to dry so fast you can't get it waxed back off. So I'm not moving too fast for you guys. I'm just going to run this is an 1800, I think, rotations per minute on this particular machine. Every machine's different, which is why I've just learned to do it by sound, because some machine, depending on how the brushes and everything are built into it, I tip the machine, speed changes.
Really?
Machines have come a long way. It's not quite that bad anymore, but sometimes when I'm using somebody else's stuff, I'm like, You also want to put your machines on a heavier weight extension cord. And the reason is it'll keep from burning up the brushes. So this one actually has, since I do a lot of wool, this one actually has a guard on it to keep the junk out of all of that. So that's something you can think about. The Kita makes them. I like the DeWalt. It's a little lighter, a little cheaper. This machine runs about $180 to $200, depending on who you buy it from. They hold up really well. The cord holds up really well. That's usually the first thing I wear out on a daily basis. It gets a short down in here, and then I have to go in and rewire it. So the Griot's machine that I had, it was a good machine, but after 100 cars in a collection, the cord was crap. And the time I was taking to try to fix the cord, I had to think about the value of my time versus buying another machine. So I said, okay, we're done. For doing it at home or whatever, Griot's machines, something like this,